Last week, I made some delicious lentil curry, and I want to show you guys how I made it. So I first made some naan dough, and I let that rest and rise while I got everything chopped and prepped for the curry. Now, I thought I had red lentils on hand, but I actually only had green and a little bit of leftover black lentils. So that's what we're going to be using today. And I prepped my cilantro and my garlic. I did some sliced garlic, and I also grated some garlic because the fusion of the two makes a perfect balance of flavor and also texture in your dish. So I grated a whole bunch of garlic in a little, little dish right there with some olive oil so the garlic doesn't stick to the bottom of the dish. And then I sliced my red onion. Then I chopped it because I wanted to have it nice and thin so it can permeate the rest of the dish. You'll see this pan a lot in my videos because it's absolutely perfect for all the dishes that I cook, and it cooks all my ingredients just right. So I preheated the pan and I added in olive oil and coconut oil and let that melt down. And I got out all of my seasonings and spices because I'm going to first fry off all of the spices so that they can become nice and toasty and absolutely delicious before I add in my red onion. This is how it's done in Indian culture, so I wanted to stay true to that. And honestly, it's the best way to start off any curry or really any dish, just to fry off your spices. And they do it in multiple cultures as well. So I've adopted that for this recipe, and I added in my garlic, and I really let the onions caramelize. And then I added in some diced Roma tomato. Roma tomatoes are perfect for cooking. I'm going to say it again. They're perfect for cooking because mostly they're so easy to cut and they add the perfect tomato flavor without too much acidity. And so after I added those tomatoes in, I added some salt. I love to add my salt in stages because it just flows so perfectly with the dish when you build that flavor instead of just adding in all your seasonings or your salt at once. And I made some room, pushed all those tomatoes aside, and I added in the lentils along with a little bit more oil and some more of those spices. I let the lentils cook off a little bit more, and then I decided to add some more of that minced garlic little by little, again, like I said, to just really make sure that that flavor is all throughout. I let it cook down some more, and then I added in my chicken stock and filtered water. I personally noticed that filtered water has just a cleaner flavor to it when you add it to food, so that's what I like to add when I'm cooking if I need some water. Then I reserved a full can, about 15 ounces of coconut milk, and then I let it come to a boil, and I let it simmer while I prepped everything else needed for this dish. Now, this is the fun part. Honestly, the part I was waiting for. My dough was perfectly risen, and as you can see, I was pretending I was going to punch it, but that's not what you want to do. I see a lot of people do that to release the gas, but what you want to do is just gently put your hand on the side and just kind of gently lift your dough from the sides of the bowl and allow that gas to naturally release that it's built up after rising. Because I like to keep any extra gases in there because it helps with how high or how puffy your naan or whatever you're making gets. Then I divided my dough into 12 equal as I could get it to the eye. And then I decided I wanted to show you guys how I shape and roll out dough. Something like for a tortilla or say a donut or in this case, naan. So I stretch it out and then I just bring all the pieces to the middle. Like every corner, I just keep pressing it towards the middle. And then I roll it up kind of like a little roller, tuck it all in. And then I do this trick that I learned from a pastry chef at a restaurant in Chicago. They were actually a Middle Eastern restaurant, and they taught me how to make their pita from scratch. And it was absolutely amazing. It was such a cool time. And ever since then, rolling dough into a perfect ball shape has never been easier and more effective doing it the way that I was taught. So as you can see, I'm showing you guys again how I do it. And it's kind of like a circular hand motion. You kind of are working the dough but allowing it to work itself. And we did it. All 12 pieces are looking beautiful, and my sister Milan helped me. Then with some flour and the rolling pin, we rolled out each piece of naan dough and prepared to start cooking it off in the skillet. My sister, after a while, said, I want to do it. Like I said, my sister's Milan, she's 9, and she loves to help me in the kitchen, when it's fun at least. In a very hot cast iron pan that's already been pre-seasoned, I cooked off each piece of naan, and it cooked perfectly. As soon as the bubbles arise, I just flipped it over and it was perfectly cooked. And as I was done cooking the naan, the lentils were done too. Everything was perfectly cooked and it smelled absolutely delicious. I put a little cream on top in a nice swirl, and then I garnished it with some fresh cilantro. Now, after all this was said and done, I put the lid on to keep it warm while my sister finished buttering the naan. So we did the garlic butter. It's just fresh garlic, cilantro, and butter. And I melted it, and she's just spreading it over every piece of naan. Now I'm showing you all my sister making her plate, and I just want to finish off talking about the food. The food was absolutely delicious. The curry was perfect in flavor, a balance of the curry powder, a touch of garam masala. The garlic naan was perfectly buttered and perfectly garlicky, and the cilantro just added the perfect amount of herbiness. And we served it on top of a delicious warm bed of basmati rice. If you enjoyed watching this video, thank you so much for watching, and definitely subscribe, turn on notifications. Thank you.